Guys, so this is What If Generator Rex was in Young Justice Part 1. Now, guys, basically, I got this request and I looked into it and I am super, hyped to do this request. I was thinking about it a couple months before when I started my very first Young Justice What If, but I never acted on it because, Generator Rex is a very obscure character. I never knew about him all the way up until, the Ben 10 crossover TV show I watched for the first time. No, not like when it came out, but like when I got, really into Ben 10 when I was about like 10, maybe 9, and I came across the Ben 10 Generator X crossover. I actually didn't even watch it because I more or less like just Ben 10 in general. But when I looked more in Generator X's story and his origins and his abilities, I, started to, like Generator Rex, the same, nearly not as much as Ben 10, but enough to make a what if on him and to pretty much, do this whole entire series. Now, basically, I will be ending the series off like season 3, and this episode 1, and episode 6, season 2 is when he will be introduced into the what if or this pretty much series. Now, basically, let's get into it, guys. Now, basically, before we go any further, tomorrow I'm gonna be uploading. What was it? I think I'm going to be uploading a Callum what if. I'm gonna be uploading what if Callum had the Omnitrix part. I can't remember, but I'm gonna be making another part to that, and I'm also gonna be making my fourth what if for the week is going to be. You guys can choose in the comments. A part 2, a part 3, whatever. To any type of what if. Just no new what ifs. Scratch it. Just put any request you want, and that will be the fourth what if I make for the week. Or if I have more time on my hands, I'll make a fifth one. Now, basically, let's get into it, guys. Now, basically, we start our story off with episode 6, Bloodlines, or in this case, it would be named 2 different bloodlines. Now, basically, we are just shown a quick little scene of a boy with brown hair talking to an old man. You can switch back to Mount Justice, basically seeing Robin pretty much, making a plan of some sorts and looking up pretty much the tech or the alien tech that was pretty much, at the base that Beast Boy and Robin went to. And basically, Nightwing would have been, calculating everything, but they would soon realize it was some sort of portal going on or some sort of energy that was going on. And right in that moment, Impulse would have shown up, but something would change. Something would directly change the story from that point on. And basically, what would happen is the dimensions that pretty much, or the timeline, or how Impulse was transforming through the time, was pretty much, traveling through time in the past. Basically, that timeline, when it pretty much he was traveling back in time, the ship sparked the lightning, and it was incredibly supercharged by the time, or pretty much by the well force that Impulse was using to go back in time. And basically, it hit another universe. At this point, this would be an extra mission or extra pretty much series of basically Generator Rex, and on his basically about like season maybe like just Generator Rex in general doing a mission, and basically he would be fighting a certain technovirus pretty much villain. But when it would happen, the technovirus villain would have the ability to make portals, not like the other pretty much girl from the Generator Rex TV show, but portals like dimension traveling and teleportation and stuff like that. So basically Rex was about to punch or about to defeat this villain, but the villain teleported or made pretty much a loop around Generator or pretty much Rex and transformed him, and not really transformed him, just traveled him to another dimension or another universe. And as he was traveling through the dimensions, he intertwined with the timeline, and that timeline pulled him into the dimension of Young Justice. So he rode on the back of Impulse's ship. He used some of his, abilities to pretty much mimic a type of iron suit around his body so he wouldn't get burned by the impact. And the suit would have shown up right there. Nightwing, Beast Boy, and Robin would have seen this, and basically, they would have pretty much seen something very weird. Basically, pretty much they would see the ship appear, but they would also see black hair on the back of it poking out. They would ask who's there, basically. Well, as soon as, pretty much Rex is about to pop his head, Impulse opens the hatch and basically gets out. Impulse gets out of the hatch, basically jumping out with a very, very much impulsive type of jump. Now, after that, we see the, okay, Young Justice pretty much intro for season 2. Basically, we see Impulse introduce himself, but we also, halfway through it, they see another kid. They see Rex. Now, basically, Rex looks at them, and basically, Impulse starts running around asking questions and blah blah blah. That basically Impulse comes to Rex and saying, "I don't remember you," and pretty much Rex saying, "I don't remember any of you guys. Who are you?" Basically, Robin saying, "Wait, what?" Basically, Nightwing would have told them to pretty much capture them or get them. Basically, Rex seeing this and Jada just, making, just mimicking a jetpack and just flying around trying to get away from them. Now, eventually, Impulse would have, still took down Gar by the shower thing, and basically Impulse was about to get out. When he passed by the kitchen, Robin tried to hit him with his bow staff, but it went right, not right through him. Impulse just, pretty much just, split it over it. Now, basically, Impulse started running around, and you were seeing marbles on the floor. He would have, obviously ran on the walls, basically seeing this trick done a lot of times against speedsters. But Nightwing saw as when Impulse stopped, he would have pretty much contained Impulse. Now, Nightwing would ask questions, but basically, Nightwing would have gone back to the Defiant stance, pretty much remembering that, it was another one, Rex. Now, Rex was flying around trying to get away, and Robin started to try. Robin went on a one-on-one fight with Rex. Robin started hitting Rex left and right, and Rex saw, Robin was moving pretty quickly and was pretty highly trained. Now, Rex made a tech sword and basically sliced or almost tried to pretty much cut Robin in half, but Robin dodged and the kitchen table was completely cut in half. Now, Rex went on to a fight against about 6 minutes with Robin, basically eventually him winning the fight. Basically, Nightwing would have stepped in and Nightwing would have tried to fight Rex. Rex would have been fighting them, and Rex would have been dominating them over and over again because Rex, they couldn't find out Rex's pretty much weakness. Now, basically, Rex started taking them out quicker and quicker over time. Rex would have started to fight them, basically summoning most of all of his arsenal of pretty much weapons. Basically, him summoning the big fat sword. That's what it's called. Basically, him slicing and dashing against them. He would have also summoned the buzzsaw, and basically he started to go up against all of them at once. Now, basically, Impulse would have still been in the bag, basically with his handcuffs, but him basically just staying there so he can have a little more chat with them. Basically, seeing them lose, him about to step in, but when Generator Rex stops them all by a type of force-filled new type of pretty much weapon he made, basically he would have told them to stop, pretty much saying, "I'm not trying to fight you, or not trying to hurt you at least." Now, basically, Robin saying, "If you're not trying to hurt us, why did you try to cut me in half?" Basically, Rex started to talk to them, and eventually they would have, Nightwing would have, had a plan and would have thrown down a type of, MVP or miniature MVP that can only go 6 feet, and basically, pretty much, for pretty much this time, it was able to slightly dampen Rex's abilities enough for them to try to nearly contain Rex. And basically, they would have asked them, "Why were you here?" Rex basically, staying a little bit quiet, and pretty much Impulse saying, "I don't know what this guy is. I don't know, this guy. I don't know if he hitched a ride on my ship or whatever, but I'm Impulse." Basically, him explaining who he is. Now, basically, we would get switched through that after that fight with Arsenal and basically the assassin, basically at some sort of ice mountain. It gets switched back to the pretty much, talking or negate, or pretty much, what was it? The interrogation between pretty much all of them. And basically, Nightwing would have asked, would you want a cup of water? Basically, giving both Rex and pretty much Impulse a cup of water. Now, Impulse would have known, Robin, Nightwing, Gar, and pretty much Impulse would have known all their identities. Robin, Garfield, and pretty much Grayson basically, saying that I know everything about you guys. Basically, him explaining more and more. Now, basically, Rex right next to Impulse would have been confused, basically saying, your name is pretty much, asking Grayson, his first name is really that. Basically, Grayson getting kind of, well, angry at this. But basically, him asking, who are you then? Basically, Rex saying, I'm from another dimension. Him explaining most of basically, well, season one of Rex, or Generator Rex, basically explaining that, he has, techno-organic powers, and it's a techno-organic virus in my universe, and blah, blah, blah. Basically, Robin getting to a fighting stance saying, you got it on you. Basically, him saying, no, I can control mine. Now, basically, he'll talk to them more and more, and eventually, they would have, not really taken them seriously, but they would slightly remember, pretty much believe Rex because they still knew about the whole entire, dimension and other worlds and other stuff like that. Now, pretty much Garfield would have asked Impulse about the future, but Impulse would have said that, that's not the way it happens, If I, if I say anything more about the future, the whole timeline can crash apart or fall. Now, basically, Rex would have pretty much heard a alarm, but Impulse would have faced through his cuffs. Now, basically, Impulse would have left and run out of their way. Now, basically, we would have seen pretty much should have just Impulse running out of the room, running out of the place, and Gar would have tried to catch up with Impulse, turning into the fastest bird alive. But pretty much Nightwing and Robin knowing that Gar will not be able to pretty much find him. But basically, Nightwing pretty much told, or basically, well, put a little trick in the water, pretty much making Impulse pretty much, well, consume a tracker. Now, basically, we were seeing Rex here. Listen to this, but Rex would use his powers to basically buzzsaw through the cuffs, or just break out of the cuffs in general. He would have pretty much gotten out there pretty fast, basically, pretty much sneaking by Robin and Nightwing, but not really. Them knowing that he was leaving, them about to, just take him out, just double tag him. But basically, Nightwing pretty much standing down, knowing that Generator Rex or Rex is pretty strong. We won't be able to take him out. Just the two of us, and I don't have another miniature MVP on me. Now, basically, we've seen Rex fly around looking on this new world, and he would go across multiple other stores, TV places, also other stuff. Pretty much him knowing that's kind of similar to his universe, but him knowing more different things, and also knowing about these new heroes on this Earth, and knowing that this virus on his Earth isn't, on this one. Him pretty much looking onto the posters, cameras, and everything else, pretty much seeing Flash, Superboy, Superman, and all sorts of other superheroes. Now, he would have looked all of them up on a school computer. He would have broken to an alternate version of his school in this pretty much world, and basically would have been surprised that his, pretty much phone password, or pretty much his computer password, still matched up with, this universe's computer pretty much match. Now, basically, this dimension would have an alternate version of Rex, but this alternate version of Rex would just be normal. He wouldn't be meta or anything like that. He'd just be a normal kid. Now, basically, Rex would have gone to the mainframe and would have pretty much asked a bunch of questions about superheroes, Superman, pretty much all sorts of other stuff. Him learning not just, as much as the public knows about Superman, and the Justice League, and everybody else, and every other super. And basically, Rex would have, thought of something else to get some more information. He would have snuck back into the pretty much Mount Justice, using some of his tech abilities to disable most of the pretty much alarms. Now, basically, he would have snuck back in, and he would have went onto the computer, basically asking everything about every hero. Now, he would have spent about a half an hour, pretty much him learning most of everything about the pretty much Justice League, Young Justice, and pretty much every super, including, pretty much, well, everybody. Now, basically, he would have, well, learned more and more, but eventually he would hear on the news about Flash, Impulse, and Kid Flash taking down some sort of villain. Now, basically, well, pretty much Rex would have gotten up from the computer and would have, tried to help. Seeing him making a conclusion that maybe him helping against a big threat on this earth may gain him some pretty much, you know, pretty much some, prowess in him pretty much realizing that maybe if he saves the world or saves a certain part of the, this universe's town, he may be able to, save this place just a little bit and basically make himself a hero or pretty much make people on this earth believe he's a hero. But basically, Rex would have gone and would have seen pretty much at this point, Impulse and Flash are making the whole entire wormhole thing around the villain alongside Wally. Basically, Wally being shown as the, slowest. Now, basically, they would have, basically tried to take out the villain, basically pushing him higher up into the ground so he can't destroy any other property or anything else. Basically, he would have overpowered or powered out, and basically, he would have sent more energy over and over and over again. They get sent to some sort of scene, basically a group of people watching from afar, pretty much realizing that, he's going to, explode or whatever. Basically, he overloads and pretty much causes a huge mass energy blow. Now, basically, Impulse, Wally, and pretty much everybody else sees this, and basically they get out the way, basically seeing multiple square feet of the town is pretty much disintegrated or blown away. Basically, Impulse and Flash grabbing Wally, basically seeing that Wally wasn't going to be fast enough. Now, basically, we switch back to Rex, and Rex will be at the end, or basically see the whole entire, explosion. Now, basically, we would see Rex, and basically Rex would have, looked at a far scene, Impulse run off, and basically go towards the explosion. Now, basically, Wally would have looked on his, pretty much, enhanced goggles, looking for, the villain. Now, he would have seen that he's still alive, but most of all, his skin is completely gone. It is just bone matter. But he slowly sees that this pretty much man starts regenerating into some sort of energy being. Now he starts, this man starts pretty much realizing that, he doesn't know what's going on, and he's been brainwashed for some reason. Now basically, they pretty much abort the test, or the people that are watching from afar. You never, explicitly said who are these people, and they blow up the shop, the place they have the technology to watch pretty much this villain from afar. Now, basically, they would see the radiation or the pretty much heat get bigger and bigger and bigger. Basically, Impulse would have looked up and he would have seen Rex on the rooftop. And Impulse would have ran on top of the roof, basically asking Rex, why you here? Rex saying, I'm trying to help you guys. Basically, Impulse saying, can you stop that? Pointing towards the explosion, or pretty much the energy waves that the man's giving off. Basically, Rex would have said, yeah, and basically he would have, flown, pretty much jetted right towards the man, basically using most of his power to basically make a tech dome, or pretty much shield all around the man. Basically, him pretty much boosting it all around him. Now, basically, he would have been able to stop the pretty much radiation more and more, but it wouldn't be enough, and basically he would have started losing control. Radiation would be too big for him, and he would have let go. And that's when Flash and Impulse would have ran in at their full speed, basically them pretty much tripping since Impulse got in the way of Flash. Now, basically, they would have tripped, and basically Rex would have fell out to the ground, seeing that, the radiation was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Basically, Rex, as a last result, pretty much, flew up, basically seeing that another two speedsters grabbed Impulse and Wally and got them out the way as fast as possible. We saw pretty much Bart Allen, and basically Wally grab both of them and get them out the way. Now, basically, Wally would have gotten angry at Impulse for messing up the whole entire situation, but Flash would have still been kind of, mad by this, but would have still said the same thing. But Flash would also ask, who's that guy? Basically seeing Rex right behind Bart. Now, basically, we would have seen, basically, what was it, Jarek? And that would be the Flash. But Bart Allen, he would have went back to the blown site, seeing the man regenerate, and him using some sort of tech to basically cure the man and basically make him, well, human again, or, cure him. And basically, we would have seen Impulse cure him, and basically they would have asked, how did you do that? He would have said it was a future thing, and basically, pretty much Rex would have pretty much, shown up, and basically would have looked and pretty much been confused. Now, basically, Rex would have left, and basically Impulse would have ran up against pretty much Rex, saying, "You want to stay with me?" And basically, Impulse and Rex, from that point on, pretty much decided to, well, became kind of not friends, but pretty much just buddies for now. And basically, they would have pretty much we would get switched back to Arsenal and the assassin having some sort of baby, Arsenal's baby, and or their baby, basically them pretty much coming into some sort of pretty much League of Shadows type of base, and then finding the real body of the real Speedy. Now we would get switched off from there, and we would get switched back to Mount Justice, where Team Flash and basically, well, pretty much Rex were basically, getting ready to basically, start the pretty much ship. Bart came in and sent him back. And also Rex was going to step on the back of it again and use his abilities to, dampen the explosion on his body. Or the pretty much blast off his body. Now basically, Impulse would have told you pretty much, "Rex, you ready?" And basically he would have said his goodbyes to basically Flash. That he would have gotten into the ship. Now they would have seen that the ship wasn't working for some reason, and basically that it wasn't working at all. Now they would have said that you guys can stay here. Now basically, they would have given Bart a home at Mount Justice alongside Rex. And we could switch back to the pretty much future, or the future Bart came from, seeing the man from the beginning, seeing the man from the beginning, pretty much a flashback, and pretty much seeing the man be cured. The man would see that he was cured, but he would see that, the future hasn't changed, and it's so apocalyptic pretty much place, and that Bart hasn't changed the future yet. He hasn't, prevented the apocalypse, basically saying that Bart hasn't succeeded yet. Now you get switched off from there, and that's where we're gonna leave it off at episode 6. Now, all these Young Justice What Ifs, I always do 2 episodes. So let's get into episode 7, Death, or Depths. We would get switched to basically a couple minutes or a couple hours in pretty much before the beginning of the episode, seeing that Artemis died. And then we get switched back to basically the fire intro. Well, not really fire, it was okay intro. We get switched back to Mount Justice, March 19th, 11:42 ED Tim. 10 hours before or earlier. Basically, you will see Speedy, the real Speedy, and Impulse, and also a Rex picture, basically saying these are our new pretty much missions or whatever. Basically saying that Generator Rex is a very, powerful, pretty much, a very powerful, pretty much person on the team that we have. And basically, somebody would have asked team. Basically, Nightwing explained that Generator Rex has a lot of training, combat training, worked on a team before, and also has explicitly said that he wants to help this universe since he's stuck here, or he may be stuck here. Now, basically, pretty much we see Megan and Lagoon Boy basically, flirting with each other and pretty much eating snacks with each other, and basically Superboy getting kind of angry by this. We would see the boom tube open up, and we would see Artemis shut up through it. And basically, we were seeing pretty much Megan get super happy by Artemis. Her using her, pretty much losing the whole entire telepathy thing on the plate they were eating off, and pretty much, Arcolite, Lagoon Boy had to grab it. Now, you'll see Artemis pretty much, come back in clutch with the rest of the team. And basically, we was seeing pretty much Generator Rex come in through a boom tube shortly after, basically him being told by Nightwing about the whole entire pretty much mission and everything else. Pretty much Nightwing not telling Generator Rex about the whole entire thing because he doesn't trust him that much to know everything about the plans. Just bringing him on this mission since he knows that he's incredibly strong and that he could help against, a type of pretty much battle like this. Now we would get switched back later on with Martian Manhunter and pretty much the press looking at Superboy and Martian Manhunter, basically seeing them get out the way and them talking to the press conference and pretty much explaining to the team or explaining to pretty much the world about the whole entire, pretty much, the whole entire, what was it, the tower they were going to send to Mars to communicate with the Martians. We would see Superboy in a super suit, basically Megan using her telepathy to basically make flying for pretty much Superboy, and basically seeing Megan transform back into Megan, because Megan was pretty much was basically taking the spot as Martian Manhunter, since in this episode the Justice League has left for the whole entire, doing their time for the whole entire, them being mind controlled by Vandal Savage and going around the universe and pretty much doing a bunch of crimes on other planets. Then we get switched back to Nightwing, Artemis, and also Rex in the same tower or the same area, them all looking towards their binoculars. Basically, Rex having its own, making them out of his tech. Basically, Lagoon Boy underwater, basically, being duped at him, pretty much telling himself that he's been duped and dubbed the Water Boy again. Basically, him being under the water and him always being given the water jobs. Now we could switch to basically some sort of ship, or basically Black Manta's men showing up with some sort of water tank and dropping it down. Basically, pretty much the submarine that dropped it off leaving. Now, basically, they would have seen multiple other pretty much, Black Manta's men would have pretty much, swam out of the air. So out of the ship onto the water tank and basically would have gotten ready for pretty much missiles, or basically just trying to take down the alien tower, or pretty much the tower in general. Now you can switch back to basically NASA basically watching from afar, and basically us getting switched back to Artemis talking to Nightwing. Now basically we would get switched back to Rex, and basically Rex would have just been quiet, since he didn't really have any, since he didn't really have anything, and he just wanted to learn more about the whole entire mission or whatever. He learned enough about the backstory that was pretty much backstory, or pretty much knowledge about the team that was written down on paper. And basically we could switch back to Megan and Superboy arguing. Superboy would have brought up the fact that Megan has lost her way, basically saying that she's used her telepathy in the wrongest ways, trying to use her telepathy to mind control him, to forgetting that pretty much he was mad at her for some reason. And basically, pretty much, Superboy saying that you're crazy. You keep on using your telepathy unwillingly. You're worse than Simon. And basically, you're worse than, and basically, Artemis would have been very shocked by this. Basically, Superboy going on about how you've abused your abilities. You've peered into the minds of pretty much others, leaving them in a catastrophic state after taking your intel. You've been mind killing people. Basically, him saying that you've abused your abilities too much to say that they're for the greater good. Now, basically, Artemis would have been very shocked by this. I know, pretty much Megan would be very shocked by this. And Superboy would have, would have ended off the argument with her. Now it gets switched back to basically the tower, and basically would have seen pretty much Rex. Basically, we have pretty much seen Rex, and basically Lagoon Boy would have told them that, some people have shown up. Now basically, pretty much Nightwing would have told pretty much, Generator Rex, or Rex, to go down to the water area and take them out. Rex said, I'm not really good, underwater or anything. And basically, pretty much Nightwing was said, fine, you're with us. Basically, them going down with pretty much Artemis' whole tower, pretty much zipline thing, but just Rex flying down with his jetpack. Now, basically, we would have seen pretty much a sign of them going up against, seeing that it was a fire hazard, and they were in the launch space, the launch area, basically, the place. Now, basically, we would have seen Megan get off the ship, basically giving Superboy controls, and Megan going into gill form, her going into the water, and pretty much helping or assisting Lagoon Boy. Now, basically, we would have seen pretty much Rex help the rest of the team on the top area, or the top side, basically him using his tech abilities to basically get over pretty much the wall, basically saying, I got this. Basically him using his abilities to pretty much dodge most of the bullets, and also pretty much block most of the bullets as well, and him basically getting in the way and taking them out quicker and quicker and quicker. Eventually, this would come on, but pretty much people would still be coming and coming and coming. Basically, we would eventually see it go back in the water. We would see that pretty much Black Manta shows up and basically takes out Lagoon Boy. Now you switch to the end, near the end of the episode, so that from that point on, pretty much Generator X didn't do that much since he was on the top side, and most of the main action went on the other side. Basically, we would have seen Artemis and Nightwing step in with pretty much Rex, basically them taking them out. It was seeing some sort of pretty much, well, pretty much what was it, a Black Manta goon trying to stab pretty much McGann, but seeing that, well, it was stopped because McGann stepped in and took it out. Basically, she would have seen, well, we were seeing, Aqualad basically show up from the water, basically looking at them, getting ready. Now, I'm not going to go back to the water area because that's not going to be changed that much since Rex isn't down there. Now, basically, we see Rex go up against or come closer to the edge, or come closer to the pretty much close to the water, looking at Aqualad, saying, "So this is the traitor." Now, basically, Rex got into a fighting stance, saying, "Let's do this." Basically, him using his tech to basically make a huge type of pretty much arrow thing and basically pretty much shoot Aqualad with a very big, pretty much blast. Aqualad are taking them out with pretty much water, pretty much materials, and basically we would have seen Rex step in, taking out Aqualad and trying to fight him. Aqualad would eventually, disorientate pretty much, Rex by splitting or pretty much piercing water into Rex's pretty much head or into his ear, basically kicking, Rex down to the ground. We would have seen Artemis get stabbed by Aqualad, and we would have seen the ship blown up for no reason because none of their torpedoes made it to the ship, but they still saw the ship blown up. They succeeded their mission and they left. Nightwing was trying to still save McGann, trying to give her heart mouth to mouth and try to give her resuscitation, seeing that McGann was dead or seemingly dead. I was seeing McGann, Superboy, and basically Nightwing, Artemis, and Rex show up. Basically, Rex looking at them, basically him healing from the whole entire water attack in his brain or whatever. And basically him watching from afar, not really being connected to Artemis, but still feeling sad since since Artemis was technically like a new team member for him, at least. And Artemis dies. And basically, we just switch back to the water area, and everything happens the same. But Aqualad does explain what's up with the new recruit. Pretty much Black Manta watches from afar, basically saying what's up with the new recruit or Generator Rex. And basically Rex, or that pretty much he pretty much labels him or pretty much talks to him like the kid in the red jacket. Basically, he would have pretty much Aqualad would explain, I don't know, some sort of new team member, very powerful. And basically, you get switched back to the Mount Justice, and everybody's grieving because, Artemis is dead. We get switched to, basically, Bloodhaven, and basically, we see, basically, Nightwing look at old pictures of Artemis and him. And basically, he would have seen, basically, he would have been waiting at the docks, or pretty much this area, basically seeing Aqualad show up. Now, he would have looked at Aqualad, and they would have looked at each other, and we would get shown, basically, the whole entire thing, Aqualad, Nightwing, Wally, and also Artemis all staged all of this, and Artemis isn't actually dead. And pretty much Aqualad, Artemis, and everybody else pretty much faked the whole entire death thing. Now basically, we would have seen everything happen and tie out the same. Now basically, what would happen is that would happen. And basically, so basically they would have faked their death and they would have talked the same about the whole entire plan. Basically, Aqualad saying that the new recruit you hired followed the plan almost. Couldn't even beat him almost. Basically, Nightwing saying he's a new recruit and also he's very powerful. He might be a good use to us or a very big heavy hitter in some sort of event of alien invasion. And also he's a very promising kid. And basically, they would have been basically Alcalad, and the rest of them would have been talking about the whole entire plan and how Alcalad is a double agent, pretty much to Black Manta, and trying to get closer to the light and find out who their secret identities are and back out when he has enough information and can give it back to the team. Basically, we would have seen them talk and get kind of angry at each other, but still talk. And basically, that's where we're going to leave off episode 7. Now, guys, basically, originally, I didn't really get enough, wasn't enough action in this, so it's just I think it's only third time I'm actually done 3 episodes, so I'm going to be doing 3 episodes. So, yeah, just kidding with you guys. Now, with the time now, most likely, it's going to be a pretty long video. But you know what? I'm just going to end it off here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. You guys like it, subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day. Now, guys, before I go, pretty much next part will be on episode 9 and 10. We're going to be skipping episode 8 because episode 8 didn't really, have that much on Generator Rex, or won't really have that much based off Generator Rex. So basically, episode 9 or episode 10 or episode 11, those are when we're going to be introducing or basically showing more action between pretty much Rex and the rest of the league, or the rest of the pretty much Young Justice characters. Now I'm going to leave it off here, guys. But basically, hope you guys enjoy the video, hope you guys like and subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day. See you guys later. Bye.